Hi, Steve with Brownells here, and today I'm with Jacob Herman with Night Fision, and they make handgun sights that glow in the dark. Jacob, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Doing great, doing great. Can you tell us a little bit about the company?
I can. So Night Fision has been making precision tritium handgun sights for the past 18 months. And our parent company is Kaminga Compass. And Kaminga is the official supplier of the U.S. Lensatic 3H military compass.
Which all glow in the dark.
Which all glow in the dark.
Oh.
And they have since, I think, 74, 75.
I think I've used your products.
You probably have.
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. Very familiar. So anybody that went through infantry school or any kind of artillery map reading, they've used a Kaminga compass. And to this day, that's what the U.S. government buys and issues. And we provide compasses for about 40 NATO countries. The 3H compass comes in a little green pouch.
Yes.
And so that is made in Detroit, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. And some other parts of our company are involved in automotive business. And the engineers found this really great polymer, and the compass guys and the one side of the company got together with another side of the company and said, hey, we have a new way to wrap your tritium.
Nice.
And that's where Night Fision Precision Tritium came from.
So you guys aren't new to the tritium game.
We were one of the oldest tritium license holders in the United States, and we use an extremely large volume of tritium gas based on compass production. And so we're a DoD supplier, and we have been a prime vendor for over 30 years now. The Night Fision line of handgun sights is what we feel the most technologically advanced line of sights with the most features built in that you can buy for a handgun.
Wow, well, you guys are a DoD supplier, so you ought to be able to figure out something that works very, very well. Well, what are we looking at here?
So we have the suppressor height sights here, and I also have a set for the Glock 42-43.
Those got to be popular.
They're super popular. The Glock 42-43 and the Shield, Smith & Wesson Shield sights are, by volume, our largest sellers.
We're selling the heck out of those guns here, so I can
And
imagine.
probably all accessories for those guns. Yeah. So we'll open these up, and I'll tell you a little bit about what makes the Night Fision Precision Tritium sights a little different than probably the 1,500,000 sights that you've installed.
Okay, okay, I'm ready to hear it. I'm ready. Because we have gone through a lot of night sights.
Right.
Here, believe me.
Right, I'm sure you have. Dump those out there.
Oh, that's got a nice fluorescent ring around the tritium too.
That is the secret to the mix. So we use a ballistic polymer cup. So it's not a ring. There's other companies that have used rings or caps in the past, but we use a cup. And so we have a specific tritium vial that we have custom made for us. And it's got 30% more gas pressure than any other sight on the market.
Okay.
So, and that's what makes tritium bright is its pressure. So tritium's a gas.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that tritium's a gas. And it reacts with the luminescent powder inside of it, and the higher the pressure, faster it spins, the brighter it is.
Okay.
So we use a bigger vial, and it contains 30% higher pressure, and then we insert that vial in a ballistic polymer cup. And this ballistic polymer is the same stuff that a roof of a Bugatti supercar is made out of.
Okay.
It's the same stuff that bulletproof glass, the newest bulletproof glass is not even glass, it's polymer. It's a ballistic polymer. So we found this polymer. We precision injection mold a cup. Then we take the oversized tritium vial, we inject it in the cup. The cup itself is got fluorescent color in it. So there's no paint in this sight. It's all colored polymer. We inject that cup into the 4140 metal body that's black nitrided, and so it will not come out. And we guarantee this sight for life, never to chip, crack, fade, or fall out.
I don't see how it could.
Right, because it's pressure fit in there. The bodies, we offer a lifetime warranty on the bodies. They're all gas nitrided, and we laser engrave our name and logo on each side of the sights. That way, in 3 or 4 years, if somebody has a problem, they can get a hold of us because we stand behind our product.
Nice.
The other difference is we have the longest tritium warranty in the game, 16 years on the tritium.
Wow, that thing's bright even in here when we've got lights on.
Right in here.
Usually,
you should see it
until you
outside.
turn the lights all the way down, you can't see them very well.
A lot of guys now, you know, one of the things we wanted to do is come out with a product that, as the shooting sports are growing, action shooting, whether it's 3-gun, IDPA, whatever you want to shoot, where you don't have to have 2 different sets of sights. Sights that are good for competition haven't historically been the best for defensive shooting, and sights that are good for defensive shooting are not necessarily the best for competition.
Yeah.
And so
that's true.
outside, the sunlight can enter it, and it's extraordinarily bright. You can shoot a competition with the same handgun you carry on a regular basis.
See, normally when I get a call on the tech line, they ask, you know, I'm looking at these night sights so I can see better at the range. And I say, well, if you're shooting in the daytime, they're not going to do any
Right.
good. This is a whole different thing here.
Outside, when you go outside in the sunlight, if you're shooting it like an outdoor range, it is extraordinarily bright. It has a lot of the characteristics of fiber optic because you have a lot of area in which to gather light. But it's got the durability and reliability of a tritium sight. And because there's no paint, you're never going to pull your defensive handgun out and be like, oh, my front sight's cracked, my front sight's chipped. You have a lifetime warranty that color and that cap will never chip, crack, fade, or fall out. It's a one-piece design, so our lens is actually built into the ballistic polymer. It's one piece. You're not going to look up and your sight be gone. We've had some under extreme circumstances during some testing, and some companies we do work with that use these OEM, and they've actually broken part of the face off, but because the color is injected all the way through, it did not affect you being able to use your sight. So if you have some catastrophic failure, or you have some massive damage to your handgun, you can still use that gun in a fight.
It's going to be the same all the way through.
It's going to be the same all the way through.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what makes ours a little better, we feel like, than the other million sights you've installed over your years here at Brownells.
That thing is incredibly bright just for its
Right.
size. Usually you don't get that much light out of
You don't.
just a
You don't.
single dot.
And
like
you can
that.
see the vial's actually larger. When you look at that vial compared, that entire area, the entire area here that you see inside the different color there, that's your actual vial size.
Yeah. Amazing.
Pretty amazing product. So the rear's the same. We make 3 different color vials. In the front, we make a white, as on the suppressor sight. We make an orange, we make a yellow.
All right.
The rear, we make a white and a black, but it's the same technology. So it's the same perfect dot. We just, in the rear, it's just smaller.
Right.
So your eyes adjust better, but it's still guaranteed to never chip, crack, fade, or fall out.
And there's no way you could confuse the front sight with either
Right.
of the other 2 dots.
Exactly.
No way in the world. Oh, I like that.
We make them for Glock, Smith & Wesson, Canic, the CZ, the new series of CZ pistols. Make them for HK and Springfield.
All popular stuff.
All super
Nice.
popular stuff, yeah. The CZ pistols have been beyond our wildest imagination of popularity.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
coming on strong.
They are. Their new pistols are really good, but Glock is obviously the #1, especially in the RMR. The ease of installing the RMRs on a Glock. There's very defined co-witness situation going on out there, and then the aftermarket parts is. I think that's the Brownells slide. The aftermarket part situation is huge. So a lot of guys installing new sights, using new stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, RMRs and stuff going on, so those suppressor height sights are really handy.
Right. So that's what makes our sights better. And the biggest thing is not everybody has access to a gunsmith, a professional gunsmith in their hometown. So we encourage people to put them on themselves, get to know their firearm, work on their own firearm. And this is just part of our outreach of teaching people. And you guys are the biggest supplier of gunsmith supplies and accessories, I think, ever.
I think so.
This is a great place to show people how to install the sights and from a professional. So if you want to get to it, we'll put these on.
Sure. Let me ask you, is there anything different about these sights I need to know before putting them on?
We do ask that people fit them, especially on, you probably know, the aftermarket Glock slides, and then the different generations. California still has 3rd generation Glock.
Yep.
We have 4 and 5 in the rest of the country. And like Brownells, that's a Brownells slide, and there's numerous other manufacturers. They don't all have the same machines, and those machines don't hold the same tolerances. So when we tell people and they call us, we say you should install these with a punch and a hammer and a vise and fit them.
I noticed no sight pusher over there.
No sight pusher, no, because there's so many different machines out there, so many different cutting tools. There are variances within the world of firearms. And so when we tell people to install them, we want people to take their time, use a file, fit it correctly, and that way it'll last.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of you realize, but you can actually crush those little vials inside the sight by squeezing it too hard out from the side.
Yeah.
It won't take a lot of side pressure that way, when you're screwing it down with a sight pusher. So they do need to be fit. Well, since we've got a slide cut here for an RMR, let's go ahead and put the suppressor height sights on so it'll
Awesome, got those right here.
work with that. Take a look. Childproof packaging again. This isn't bad. See how close it is without even Okay, that's how far it starts. Now, what's your recommendation as far as how far this should go in before you try to hammer it?
We ask people to put it a little more than that, about a third, and so you're at about a quarter right now. You know, we've even noticed, and just stuff that we've picked up, that when some people are making, especially if you have an aftermarket product, you may want to try it from the other direction because not everyone follows the same rules, and we've seen guys cut slides. There's also a right and a wrong way to do it, so on both sides of those, that is, you know, right to left, left to right, where no one messed up your cuts, especially as we have so many people doing additions. So that's about a quarter. We recommend it be about a third of the way in.
All right, that shouldn't take much. I've got a file here.
On your factory slide, if this was a secondhand gun or a new gun from the store, not just the slide, we'd recommend that, you know, you make sure you clean it well, clean it out well, degrease it of any kind of factory residue or older sites that people would put in there.
Okay. Normally on a small object like this, I'll hold the file stationary and rub the sight against the file to give me a little better control. And these sights, yeah, that is good steel. I can feel it cutting, but it's not as aggressive. Some of those sights are just dead soft.
They are. This is 4140, and then we black gas nitride it. Everything on the sights is done within about 30 miles of the factory. There's a very well-known coating house that you guys probably have products coated there. We have products coated there. Smith has products coated there, and they do our coating, and they're very good at it. And so it's very hard. We make it that way, you know, for long-term durability.
Okay, I think I've taken about enough off there. Let's see how far she'll slide in. Yeah, that's about
perfect.
right. That's about right. Let's see what happens here. This would be easier if I wasn't using a nylon hammer and a nylon punch. I know I'm dissipating a lot of the force. By the way, how much force is too much force?
When it breaks,
Yeah.
fix it till it's broke,
But if
right?
you take like a steel punch and a 2-pound sledgehammer.
Right. Yeah, that's going to cause damage to the sight and probably your slide when you miss.
See, I've got cushioned vice jaws here. I've got a nylon punch, a nylon hammer, and it's still able to move it.
Yeah.
So there's no way I should be able to harm this sight, right? Putting it on.
No, not as hard as it. It's made out of good quality 4140 steel. This steel's U.S. made steel. It's coated here in the U.S. It's completely as spec as we could build a set of sights the way we build everything else.
Okay. Now, I will tell you that nitride coating is really tough. So when you start to file it, you're going to feel like you're not getting anywhere. Just keep at it. It gradually wears away and you get down to the steel.
What we tell people is take your time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're buying night sights, it's probably going on a defensive handgun. If you're carrying that gun, you should take your time when you do things to that gun to ensure it's right and not rush.
Exactly, exactly. It's just too important. That looks pretty good.
It looks pretty good to me too.
All right. Now I should know this, but how long can you expect these to last?
So the half-life of tritium, there's a lot of different answers out there.
Yeah.
The half-life of tritium is about 15 years. Okay. What varies in that is the brightness of the tritium you start with, depending on the pressure. So you can take a lot of different night sights that you bought in the same year, and in 10 years are going to look different. In 15 years, some might glow, and some won't, even though it's all the same tritium gas because of the pressure. So what we do, and also the age of the sight on how long it's set at the manufacturer, how long it's set at the distribution center, how long it's set at the retailer, and then how long the guy had it before he actually put it on. And so what we do is we build all of our sights to basically on-time delivery. When you order a set of sights from us, when a distributor or a customer or a dealer or a manufacturer orders a set of sights, we get fresh tritium every 2 weeks from Switzerland.
Every 2 weeks.
We have the freshest tritium in the country because we build the compasses for the government.
Sure.
And they have to depend on us having the freshest product. The way the compasses last a long time and the troops using them have the
You've already
brightest,
got the process
brightest
set up.
possible. Right, exactly. So when we get the tritium in, it's used up. We take a body or take a front. We have them completely disassembled. We pick the color ring you want. We insert the tritium. It's got a 48-hour drying process. Takes a really long time to dry and set, make sure everything works right. But when the consumer gets the sight, it's the brightest sight with the freshest tritium on the market.
So it'll last The longest.
We
You get the
guarantee it
optimum.
that you can have usable tritium and still see the tritium on your site when you point it out in 16 years.
16 years.
Which is longer than anybody else on the market because we use more tritium pressure, more tritium gas pressure than any other site on the market.
Wow.
And that's what gives you the glow, is the amount of pressure that vial's holding.
Well, this looks pretty good. Let's.
The front should be a lot quicker.
I would think so. Be a lot easier. I've got a Brownells Glock tool here. Glock sight.
One of
tool.
the things that when we designed this site was, and the suppressor sights are a little larger because of the size, but on like a direct replacement for the Glock 42, 43, it's the same footprint as a factory Glock. So if you have a custom slide, custom serrations, the footprint fits the same, so you don't have any sight overhang or anything different than what you would with a factory sight.
Now, do you recommend Loctite on the
We do
screw
recommend Loctite.
there? All right. What I like to do is I like to put it here so it stays reasonably close to where I need it. Tried putting it on the screw. That doesn't work so well for me.
Especially as the screw moves around everywhere.
Yeah. So.
This is a place where a lot of people try to think that over tightening is the key,
Oh,
and it is not. It's just hand tight.
I've tried it both ways.
There's some drivers out there that aren't as delicate maybe as that one, that have a much larger handle, and people have
Right.
a tendency to try to crank it down and just hand tight and use the Loctite and it goes right on.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Take a look, see what you think.
Looks perfect.
That's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
We can
It's
put
gonna
that
be a really nice
RMR
build.
on there and away we go. So when you have an RMR on there, you've got plenty of clearance. Just plug that on there for a second. Without the screws. So we've got a ton of clearance here. You can see through those
Yep.
sights, nice and easy.
We recommend if people are going to use an RMR that they use a black rear and a white front.
Okay,
And the reason is, as there's more and more, whatever you want to call this, a backup red dot, a micro red dot,
right.
there's many manufacturers. There's many different sight cuts other than the factory Glock MOS.
Yes.
This is a Brownells slide. There's custom gunsmiths that do it. Every one of those sight cuts may have a little different height. Plus, with the multiple dozen manufacturers of these things out there now, at all different price points, a lot of different coatings are on the market. Those coatings affect how your front sight looks when you view it, your glass.
Sure.
So the reason we recommend white is you will never confuse a red or orange dot in your backup sight for your front sight.
I see.
There's a
Yeah,
definitive color
I see.
difference.
That could lead to problems when you're shooting in a hurry.
If you're using an orange front
Yeah.
and then an orangish red electronic dot coupled with the height differences and the glass coating, you can get some confusion. So if you're using a red dot, a micro red dot, a backup sight of any type, we recommend a front or a black front.
That's good to know because a lot of people are going to automatically think, I want the brightest
I want the brightest
orange
color.
I can get, or yellow or something.
Right. And if you put it side by side, when you look through there, you can see the glass does make a little shade effect.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So we recommend
Okay.
white or the black.
Good to know.
Front.
And just stick with the bright colors for plain sights.
Non RMR, non micro red dot.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Excellent. Well, I enjoyed this.
Thank you. I
Jacob,
did too.
can't
I
thank
loved
you
it.
enough for coming by.
It was awesome. Awesome. Thanks for having us out.
Let's do it again sometime.
We will. We will.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.